Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Being Conscious. In continuation with our series of the 7 spiritual laws of success by Dr. Deepak Chopra, in today's video, we'll talk about the sixth law of success, the law of detachment. Now, when we hear this word, detachment, the most common perception has negative connotations. Like when you talk about detachment, we get this feeling of isolation, we get this feeling of a lot of austere monks. But detachment is not about austerity, detachment is a higher level of attachment. Now, let me break this down to you. Deepak Chopra has concisely talked about what the law of detachment means and how you and me can apply this law in our day to day life. So, let us go from step by step into understanding what this law is trying to tell us. Now, to begin with, law of detachment is no way saying that we shouldn't have desires, we shouldn't strive for excellence. It is no way suggesting that you become complacent, you start playing a victim game wherein you always are giving an excuse for why you are not taking any proactive action and you're blaming it towards this law of detachment. Law of detachment doesn't mean any of this. Law of detachment doesn't justify our complacent behavior or our lazy behavior. To the contrary, law of detachment talks about certain nuanced dimension, certain deep missing piece, a missing piece which is so out of our attention, which many people misunderstand or probably don't understand it well enough. Now he talks about this at the very outset. He says that what is not the law of detachment. As I mentioned, law of detachment is not that you shouldn't have intentions, that you shouldn't have desires. To the contrary, law of detachment means that you don't have rigid expectations of how the result looks like. Now, for example, let's understand this through a real life example. About 35 years. So now what I'm going to talk about, this is a real story. This is not some fabricated story which is a work of my imagination. This is a true story. Around 35 years back, there used to be a young boy in Delhi, the capital of India, and this person was considered to be an all-rounder. He was good in academics, he was good in sports, and he had this inclination towards sports a lot, and he wanted to be a professional footballer for the country. Now, it so happens events unfold in such a way that during a very important match, he goes through a serious injury. And because of that injury, the doctors tell him that you will never be able to play professional football. Meaning that the way you have been damaged, the way you have damaged your skeletal system is such that you won't be able to play football professionally. Now, obviously, if it were you and me, and even that person here was devastated because all his life he had dreamed of becoming a footballer, he had dreamed of becoming a sportsman, but that didn't happen. Now, the universe didn't want him to become a sportsman. Some may say that the universe was hard on him, but guess what? That person who went through that kind of an unfortunate mishap is today known as the heartthrob for billions. That person is no one but Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. Now, why is this story so important and relevant to the law we are referring to? Now, he always wanted to excel. He had this strong desire to thrive and excel in his chosen field of work. While his choice was professional football, he couldn't actually do it for some reason. But he figured out other ways, he figured out other avenues to nurture his deepest desire. Because let's understand, the deepest desire within him was of excellence. It was not that he had to become that. Now, when you have the deepest desire within you, grounded in this desire of being excellent in your chosen field of work, no matter what that field of work is going to be, is going to matter little to you. And of course, you will choose that field of work based on how it aligns with your passion. But the point I'm trying to make is, he had a choice at that point of time. He could have sulked, he could have felt depressed, he could have said that God has been absolutely unfair to me, I don't deserve to live, there is nothing in my life which I can look up to now. But he didn't do any of those. Instead, he chose to explore, he chose to be in the uncertainty of the universe. He accepted the deep calamity which was bestowed upon him. And now he was looking for other avenues through which he could relinquish, he could crave, he could satisfy the desire of excellence. And that became the field of acting. Now, how is law of detachment even relevant in this story or in this context? Law of detachment talks about the exact same thing which Shah Rukh Khan probably unconsciously practiced at that day in the football stadium. Now, whenever something happens with us which doesn't fit into our picture of perfect, we all have a certain picture of how life should be. We all have certain expectations from life. The right word would be the situations of our life. Because I am strongly of the opinion which says that the situations of our life do not necessarily define our life. Life is something which is inherent. Now, this is a very deep topic, but we will talk about this topic in some other video. But the point I'm trying to drive is, he did not let those situations define the rest of his life. He moved on from that event, and now he was open to the different possibilities which existed on his plate. And because he was open to the possibility called life, he suddenly was able to spot an opportunity where he could use his talents, his hidden talents, his deepest desires. And guess what? He strived in that. He strived relentlessly for such a long period of time. And even today, there are people who say how hard this gentleman works. The reason his example is so captivating is because a person with no background, no godfather, suddenly becomes such a great, powerful personality. It almost feels that he is non-human. Now, some of us might think, some of you might also believe that he also had this luck factor. While I don't completely disagree to your point, but there is this beautiful definition of luck which I would like to share in this context. Luck is essentially the marriage of preparation and opportunity. Luck is the marriage of preparation and opportunity. Now, if you are really lucky in terms of opportunities, you have all the opportunities served in your plate. Now, let's talk about people who are privileged by birth, people who are products of great families. Do all of them prosper? Not necessarily. Some of them do and some of them don't, because some of them are able to capitalize on their opportunities while some are not. The point I'm trying to make is that it's not always about luck. We create our luck. And the man really put in a lot of effort. And effort also, it was relentless and consistent. And when that happens, when the combination of relentlessness marries with consistency, magic is bound to happen. And that is what happened. Now let's get back to the law of detachment. We were talking about the law of detachment, and this is the core message which Deepak wants to talk about. The story gives you a complete understanding of how we need to practice law of detachment, and the first and foremost thing is to let loose of our own mindset in terms of having rigid expectations. This should be the way it should be. Because the more we are attached to the way things should be, the more we are obsessed or attached to the outcomes of situations. And there's a beautiful analogy. Suppose you are currently at point A and you want to move to point B, right? One way is to go through a straight line. But it doesn't say that this is the only route, right? Now suppose if you have, probably anyone who's watching this video has used Google GPS, right? And if you look at Google GPS, depending on where you are moving, depending on the way your destination is, and the way you travel around the route, the GPS auto adjusts itself to move towards destination. What I'm trying to tell you is that towards from point A to point B, there are n number of routes, n number of pathways through which you and me can traverse or travel, and there is no one single route to that. So let us drop the rigid expectations which we have from life. And this mindset, this shift in mindset, brings about a synchronicity with the universe, which will let magic flow into our life. Now, there is a beautiful person, a preacher of Krishna consciousness. His name is Amrinder Das. He told me something beautiful. He told something very amazing in one of his videos, which is sort of captured in my mind. He said that Lord Krishna is aware of your past, is aware of your future, but we are not, right? We are mortals, we are human beings with limitations, and we can only look at our past and either be hopeful of our future or be scared of our future. We have this unconscious way of always projecting our past into the future, are always evaluating and judging what happened in the past and projecting it what could happen in the future. This is how the human mind works. But Amrinder Das tells this, and he told this mostly in the context of the devotees who follow Krishna consciousness, but I feel this is overarching because every situation every human being is put into is to evolve his consciousness. Everyone is put in a certain situation so that it grows, whether that's good or bad. That is subjective understanding, that is our own bending of reality. We call a situation good, and for the same situation the other person might call it bad, but the same situation might be an opportunity for growth for another person. So reality is very subjective. It depends on the glasses you're wearing to view that particular reality at that point of time. So he said something beautiful. He said, Lord Krishna knows your past and he also knows your possible future. I'm focusing on the word possible future. And based on that, he designs your present. Or should I say, he gives you different situations to traverse across. Now, this is such a beautiful thought process in the sense that when you have this kind of clarity that every situation, every so-called adverse situation has the opportunity for growth, then we are able to be open to life. We are able to look at the different situations. I hope you understood the crux of law of detachment, and I hope you also understood the importance of not having rigid expectations over certain things the way the things should be. Now let's talk about the 3 pragmatic ways of how we can practice law of detachment in our day-to-day life. Now, one thing which you would have seen in all the laws throughout the series which we talked about, Deepak Chopra focuses a lot on anchoring our attention in the present moment, because the present moment is divine. You will notice on an average day how seldom are we completely engrossed in the present moment, because we are always fluctuating, we are always in this zone of past, future, crux or influx, wherein we are always looking for what needs to be done next, or we probably are dwelling on what has happened. But both of them are illusions. The present is the only reality, and the more we are in the present moment, the more unconsciously we are practicing the law of detachment. The second point, as I already mentioned, accept uncertainty as an essential part of your experience. Accept the situation as if you had chosen it. This was the wordings of Eckhart Tolle in his book, The Power of Now. He said, accept every situation, no matter how unpleasant it seems, as if you had chosen it. And then watch that situation miraculously turning around. And even if it doesn't turn around, at least you are not bothered by it. Thirdly, he says to remain open to all possibilities. Because if you're open to all possibilities, you might be an SRK of the future in the making. Thank you so much for your time on my video. We are pending with one last law from Deepak Chopra in this series of the 7 spiritual laws of success. Hope you are enjoying these videos, and if you do really enjoy the content I put on this channel, please do subscribe to my channel. Also do share this videos, this channel with couple of your well wishers. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll meet you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.